Hello, everyone. Dr. Victoria Skirbo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. So I have been struggling with deciding whether to put this particular video up. I thought maybe it was too soon. I didn't want to seem exploitive, but I thought that, but then I heard an interview, um, and um, his mom said that she wants to let everybody know what a special soul that her son was, and that he had a mission and he came to the planet for this mission and God sent him. And, of course, in the more Christianized version of that. And I thought to myself, because I was studying his chart, she's absolutely right. And of course, mothers know when they have uh the special one, right? You can tell the special one. So I thought, um, with full humility here, and just to come to understand, not just his numerological, astrological, and Kabbalistic um, chart, um, is to see that I think his mother is absolutely right. And it's in the stars to a certain extent, and it's in the numbers, and it's in the energy. And he is, each time this happens and we know about it, because it happens all the time, we don't know about it, but each time, and we get a video or we see it, and we see and we realize, that maybe there's something we weren't aware of, or that we had heard but we couldn't feel it because we couldn't see it. If you don't know it's there, even if you hear about it, it's not the same thing. And um, I think that it's not going to take these incidents where it seems like it's happening again and again and nothing's changing. It's not true. Everything is changing. Everything is changing. And this soul, I definitely believe, came in for this specific mission to help progress, to progress us forward, right? Pluto is about to go into Aquarius. So let's take a look at Tyre. I think the first thing I want to look at is his numerology. So let me share that screen. Okay, here we go. All right, so I have to just move something here so I can see what I'm doing. All right, so we have Tyre here. His full name is Tyre DeAndre Nichols. He was born June 5th, 1993 in Sacramento, California. I didn't write that in, but that's where it was. We do not have a time of birth. So the charts we're going to be looking at are noon charts. So your soul vibration is what you come in with. And it's the energy that is who you truly are to a certain extent, what your soul, the core of your being, your feelings and emotions have been working on for lifetimes. And you need to, it's a sensitive spot for all of us. It's the inner feminine. And we need to stay in good relationship with that. And so whatever vibration is there is really the core of who a person is. And then we have the outer personality, or the consonants, and that's who we see. That's who most people see. So it's what's on the inside and what is on the outside. Now, sometimes people have the same vibration on the inside and the outside. It's kind of rare, but it's definitely there. Um, but he does have two different vibrations here. His soul vibration is a 3811 vibration, which in the system I use is the Queen of Cups, the Queen of Cups. Now, I want to point some things out. He has, not only does he have a 3811 soul here, but he has an 11. So we have an 11 here and 11 here. That's two 11s. His outer personality is 53-8 vibration, which is the Knight of Swords. The Knight of Swords. This is the knight that comes in bravely to be willing to fight for what he believes, or what he knows to be true, or what he knows to be righteous. Sometimes that vibration is impulsive, and that impulsivity can get them into some kind of trouble. It is his outer personality, so it is something that he's probably learned up to a point. And so, but he comes in as that knight, right? He comes in on his horse, speeding down the road, so to speak, on his horse with his sword. So that's how he is sort of experienced by others, right? Now, the 8 is somebody who's generally very responsible. It is a manager. It is somebody, he may be somebody that other people look to for leadership. But the knight is always the knight. It's not the king, right? So there's this youthfulness, perhaps, and maybe sort of not growing up kind of energy that you could have with this vibration. When we add the two vibrations together, we get a 10-1, which is the Wheel of Fortune. That is the Wheel of Fate. We're on the top, we're on the bottom, we're on the top, we're on the bottom. When you have a 10-1 as an expression, you really have to stand in the center of the ups and downs of life, the circular nature of life. You have to be able to find a stillness within you and watch as, empires rise and fall, and people rise and fall, and situations rise and fall, and then rise again. So there's an understanding of the cyclicity of life when you have this vibration. Plus, the expression is how you express yourself. And a 1 vibration is a vibration that seems like self-contained. There's a self-contained nature. And they said he was kind of different. He marched to the beat of his own drum. He was always smiling. He was a photographer. He sounds like he was he kind of sounds like he was already in the ether, so to speak, really connected to, I dare say, with a 3811 soul, super, super psychic. And 11 souls generally need another person. They need a ballast. They work better in like a sense of a team. And I think that perhaps that team would have been maybe his mother, because he seemed to want to stay close to her, and he would go to her house I think he still lived with his mother, in fact, and his stepdad. So he although he was somewhat of a loner, I would say. He also has an 11 in his quiescent and a 22 in his quiescent. So far we have 1, 2, 3 11s and a 22. And his path of life, what he came in to learn in this lifetime, is a 33. So that's 3 11s, a 22, and a 33. Those are all master numbers. Now, you might say, oh, well, he's got a master number. I wish I had a master number. Master numbers are really hard. The more master numbers you have, in a way, it's hard in that it's hard. It takes a lot. It takes a lot. And I think in the case of Tyre, it took part of his path was to sacrifice his life for the greater good. And I don't say that in any way but He has a 30, his path of life is a 33-6. 33-6 is the Christ consciousness. It's the master of spiritual compassion. And so, and oftentimes, it is a Christ symbol. Christ was sacrificed, for the sins of man, so to speak. So there's this sense of that in his life, really, or what his life might stand for. That was one of the possibilities. That Seven of Wands is the man standing on top of the hill with all comers, boundaries, standing your ground, and the like. So having the more the high ground here. These were the things that he came to learn, and it was a Venus in the Tree of Life. It's located in Netzach, which is Venus. So he came in to have a sense of his own self-worth, His shadow vibration, interestingly enough, is a 1. So remember, it's a 28-1. This can be very impulsive as an eccentric angle. And so this, he ran. Now, I mean, he was afraid they were going to kill him because, they were tasing him and he didn't want to lay on his stomach. He probably didn't want the knee on his throat, I would have been terrified myself. I would have been terrified. And he ran. And one of them said, when I saw him run, they assumed if he was running, he was guilty of something, but he just wanted to get home. He was afraid. He was afraid they were going to do a George Floyd on him, I'm sure. In fact, there was just somebody not too long ago, and I can't remember, and I apologize for not remembering the man's name, but he was cousins to one of the Black Lives Matter people who started Black Lives Matter. So very, very close to home there. Anyway, so and that guy was killed. I think they kept tasing him. I think he got a heart attack or something. So he could have been a little bit impulsive. He may have done things too quickly. He may have this 28-1 is somebody who well, if they're not going to do it, I'll just do it, that kind of energy. And sometimes it is associated with Aries. It's associated with Aries, and Chiron is in Aries right now. And part of this sense that you can just beat somebody senseless, it's an abuse of power, but it's also around anger issues, which is Aries. So that's one of the reasons why we're I think, well, I don't know if there's an uptick or we're just more focused on it, but it's really about healing that the right just to be who you are. All right, so let's take a look at his divine triangle. And of course, this is always sad to see because he really only had the opportunity to work on his youth square. But interestingly enough, his youth square isn't the Ace of Pentacles, 69-6. He hasn't really had an opportunity to do more than really this vibration and a little bit of his power square. And his power square is a 19-1, which is the sun. So illumination. So his power is power of illumination. His youth was around issues of worth. 69-6 is the Ace of Pentacles. It is the root of fire, and it is Taurus. Taurus is in Uranus is in Taurus right now, conjunct the North Node. So he is a symbol of that, the symbol of, in a way, how quickly life can be taken. What a waste of life that is. However, nothing is really wasted. And there is a sense when you have things, 69-6 is located in Kether on the tree of life. When you have things in Kether, uh, great influence, there's great influence here. So he will stand for, and your youth square, your first 27 years of life, is really about working out some past life or some wound stuff here. But this is really with an eccentric angle as 28-1, the right to be yourself, and to live, right? Pentacles, to manifest, to have, to be worthy of, right? So there's all of those issues here that he's here to help show us. Now, interestingly enough, his pinnacle is an 11, and he's in this 11-2 vibration from 1993 to 2023. So on his next birthday, he was about to move into a 27-9, which is the Ace of Wands, another very powerful energy. But he didn't get there because he didn't live to his 30th birthday. He's in this 11-2 vibration for 30 years, but there's another 11, and 11 is cosmic justice. So he's got some extraordinary numbers. Now let's take a look at his chart. Let me just stop the share for a moment here. Okay. I know this is getting a little weird, but I don't know how to fix this. I think this is a problem with my internet service. I kind of like it though. It's kind of neat. I mean, it looks very 70s. And right now I look like I just got out of the garden. But we were renovating today, and I wanted to get on and do this. So I apologize for the way I look. All right. Now let's look at his chart. Now we don't have, of course, we don't have a birth time. If anybody knows, that would be great. And I'm doing an Aries rising chart. We're giving him a noon chart. The noon chart gives him a Sag moon. He strikes me as he probably did have a Sag moon. But he could also be early Capricorn. It could also be early Capricorn. But you know, the noontime chart is often how we see these people. It's like how we experience them in the light of day, so to speak. And you know, as people who don't necessarily know him but can see him, you know, see things about him reflected in the situation and all the other stuff, right? Okay. His North Node is in Sag, but this moon is conjunct the galactic center. So he was born in 1993. 1993 was an extraordinarily important year. It was the year of the Uranus-Neptune conjunction. In fact, they had just made a conjunction in February 2nd of 1993 was the first of the 3 conjunctions. The second one was in August, and I believe the third one was in October. It all happened in 93. And that conjunction happens about every 171 or 172 years. So it's a rare conjunction. Now we are dealing with 2 transpersonal planets here. The energy of the transpersonal planets is to break down and break through and dissolve away the walls that are our reality. The reality of our consciousness is Saturn, and the transpersonal planets are there to wake us up to greater possibilities. And so people born with this conjunction in their chart are here to do just that. So you were born in 93, you have this in your chart. Now, these planets move slowly, so they were in orb of this conjunction for a while. This was right around the time that people started to get on the internet, okay, the internet. Now, Neptune in Capricorn, Uranus in Capricorn. Capricorn is the structure of things. You know, we've been going through a lot of transformation of all things Capricorn, big business, banking, government, crime, criminal organizations, any big kind of organization, right? They're all under scrutiny. They're all being tested. Pluto was transforming them. And Pluto's right at the end. So it's going to say sayonara, even just for a little while, and come back and then go forward. So this Capricorn energy, even though that particular transit started in 2008 when Pluto went into Capricorn and we had a financial crisis, this is really was sort of the beginning of the process of breaking down the boundaries. We had Neptune and Uranus conjoined in Capricorn. Now we have Pluto over in this part of Capricorn. I think it was at 20, maybe 2018, it was at 20. So Pluto would have been going over this at that time. But what the point I'm trying to make is that this soul was born at a time when it was just the beginning of the breaking down that we would see as Pluto moved through Capricorn, even though it's not Pluto that's doing it, it's Neptune and Uranus. So it's almost like this. And the other thing about this time, this is when the internet came in. And so this is when the boundaries started to dissolve away, because we could communicate with each other so easily. Now, you can't make this stuff up. He has Saturn in Pisces. Now, he was going to have his Saturn return. He was going to have his Saturn return probably March 15th or March 3rd. Saturn moves into Pisces. And shortly thereafter, he would have had a Saturn return, but he was killed before his Saturn return. He was murdered. But when you have Saturn in Pisces, Saturn is often associated with what you do, your purpose, what you do on this planet, reality, Saturn. Saturn in Pisces is a spiritual mission. So he came here on a spiritual mission. And all of you people with Saturn in Pisces know what I'm talking about, right? It takes a long time. Sometimes you don't know. Sometimes it takes a lot of experimentation with mind-altering substances before you get there. But Saturn in Pisces is generally a spiritual mission. He had his sun in Gemini and moon in Sag. We're not sure of the degree of that, but his north node, south node, right axis. He also, which we can't forget, he is in the Pluto in, excuse me. He is in the Pluto in Libra generation. Did I say Libra? Scorpio. Pluto and Scorpio generation. That generation was 1983 began to 1994 when I believe it was 94 when it went into Sag. So Pluto wasn't in Scorpio very long. In fact, it's the shortest amount of time Pluto spends in any sign, but it's probably the most powerful. And these souls are transformers. They're changing big things. He has a Mars conjunct Chiron in Leo. It's significant. Chiron, as I said, is in Aries right now. It's fire, and he has fire here. This is a wound around self-expression. A wound around self-expression. Excuse me, I had to get rid of something. All right. What's interesting is, let me see, is this the chart? So this is the traffic stop. This is Tyre, Aries Rising. We're not sure of the time, but this is what the planets were doing when he was stopped and then subsequently beaten. We do have Mars here, still retrograde. Remember, Mars was retrograde, a lot of energy here. Gemini is often associated with cars and driving, okay? It's on his south node, Mars activating his south node. This could be the past, or it could be past lives. This was it. This was his time to exit, or to do the mission, right? Do the mission. We do have the sun coming onto his Neptune and Uranus. We have the moon here opposite this, so this is being highlighted. And let's see, what else? There was something else. Yeah, Jupiter was about, he was about to have his Jupiter opposition. In fact, I think he had at least one Jupiter opposition. This might have been the last pass of his Jupiter opposition. He would have, I think, had it in 2022. And this would have been at the last sort of like run past it. And very often Jupiter is the most highlighted planet in a death chart for the person who dies. Because it frees them. Jupiter is about freedom, and it freedoms from the mortal coil, so to speak. Then this here, this is when he passes. Now I put him passing at noon. I don't have a time of death. He was, I believe, in a coma this whole time. So he's sort of floating around in the ethers up there, right? And we can see the sun coming over his Neptune, illuminating his spirit, illuminating his spiritual purpose, perhaps. There was another, oh, I know what it was. Okay. He didn't get to see that new moon. So Tyre Nichols, solar return. Now I put him, it's not exactly going to be, it's not accurate for where the moon is. It's not accurate, just like because we're doing a noon chart and I don't have an exact time, but I want to just point out that Chiron and the moon are conjunct in his solar return chart. This is a solar return chart from 2021. It is trine his Chiron, Mars Chiron. So it's so we have him passing as the sun goes over his Neptune. The moon near this Chiron Mars. There was a couple things. Let's see if I can find them here. I think that's everything that I think I saw. He does have Pluto here squaring his Venus, his path of life in Netzach, the Sephiroth of Venus. Pluto square Venus. So, oh, moon opposite Saturn. Moon opposite Saturn. Also, when the moon and Saturn come together in these situations, that can be the end. Saturn is Saturn, Jupiter frees us from our mortal coil. Saturn will generally say, time is up. Your time is up. So this soul was in fact a very powerful soul. And his death is going to make big changes. And as I said, things are changing. Even though it doesn't seem like it is, these changes can happen. You know, normally it's like taking its time. Everything takes time. And it's like, well, when is this thing going to change? Haven't we been singing this song for 50 years or longer than that, right? We're waking up to the story that we have co-created up to this point. And if we don't like the story, it's time to co-create something different. And that's going to take a vision to do it. And, work on the ground. And all of that is happening. A lot has to do with our capacity at this time, especially with Pluto in Aquarius. Power is information, and how you focus your energy is what's going to make the changes. Like we are becoming the change we want to see. And Tyre came in to show us. He did this for us, just like any, I guess, sacrificed God image archetype, son. God lost his only son. It's always the sacrificed, the sense of the sacrifice God. Yeah, so let's take a look. I just want to say one more thing, and I meant to share it before, if I can figure this out. Where are you, Tyre? Oh, let's be here. Hold on. Oh yeah, here it is. So Tyre, the name Tyre means strength, rock, sharp. His middle name DeAndre means strong and manly. And his last name Nichols means people of victory. The sharp, strong rock or man who is a people from the people of victory. Victory is what Netzach means. Netzach means victory. It is the Sephiroth of victory. And he is from the people of victory. I just find these correlations fascinating. When he passed, he was in his last birthday was in 2022, because he's the 5th of June. He moved into a 17-8 vibration. He has an 8 outer personality vibration, right? The 53-8. He was murdered in a 12-3 sub-period. This is the Hanged Man. This is associated with Neptune. Remember, he has Neptune and Uranus conjunct in Capricorn. 17-8 is the star. It's about not losing hope. It's about holding hope. It's the card of democracy. It's also the card associated with Aquarius. This kid is an avatar, a hero for the new millennium, for the new Aquarius, incoming Pluto in Aquarius. We all matter. We all matter. It doesn't matter the color of our skin. It doesn't matter our sex. It doesn't matter how much money we have. It doesn't matter what country we're from. We all matter. We all matter. It's sad. It's just such a waste of potential, really. But this could have been the reason he was here. And his mother said, that's the only way I can move forward. And I agree that knowing that nothing is in vain and that it's going to change things. He was a bright light. He still is. He still is. A lot of 11s, 22, 33. He didn't pick an easy lifetime. So blessings to him, his family, to all of us whose heart goes out, and to even those whose heart don't go out. Maybe they need it bit more than we do. Have yourself a great night, and let's pray for peace.